Hi everyone, it's your boy Big D here, and it's time to review another movie that is actually an underrated movie that didn't get much hype for 2015. It opened in January, which of course January, February is known for those movies where you're kind of like, I don't know, it's a dump. It's for crappy movies. I'll take it 3, but you know. Actually, I was very surprised that this movie didn't come out towards like December. I think it would have been a great time for 2014. But still, this movie is a very underrated movie and actually inspired me in my heart. And I saw this with a friend, which was super awesome to see. So, this is, of course, my review for Spare Parts. Alright, guys. This is a non-spoiler review. I'm not going to spoil nothing for you guys. I'm just going to tell you real quick, just a quick part of the plot, and then my pros and cons and final score, and tell you whether or not it's worth watching or not. Now, Spare Parts, of course, stars George Lopez and Jamie Lee Curtis and Aziz Morales. Aziz Morales from La Bamba. You remember, what was it? Bobby? Where he's like, Richie at the end and the bridge, and then it has the slow guitar in the background. It's very beautifully done. Richie! I love that. I'm known to him. Alright, the plot real quick. 4 Hispanic high school students from a robotics club with no experience, $800, used car parts, and a dream. This ragtag team goes up against the country's reigning robotics champions, MIT. Alright, so let's get right into this. First off, pros. I mean, the characters itself. A con really is that there are the cliched characters. There's the one that, his daddy's very mean to him, and he kind of steals, and he's that bad boy type who always gets in trouble, but yet he's, it's predictable where he's cliched where he's bad, but he's going to end up turning good around with these characters type of thing. Like, I don't like you, I'm just trying to be the way how it is in the movie, and I'm Hispanic. No worries. I could say SA. He's like, no way, SA. And then it's after that, hey, man, you're my brother Holmes. That type of thing. Simple. Pretty simple stuff, man. It doesn't ruin the film at all. I'm saying the characters itself. You got the big guy. You got the one who's really dorky and nerdy. It's cliched, but yet the characters are very interesting still. So that's really cool about it, how the writing still made me interested within these characters. It made me actually care. And just the acting from it, I'm not saying this is Oscar acting or nothing, but the acting for this movie is not bad. It's actually very good and actually very inspirational itself on how they see the world and how the world has changed. Some of them may change, some of them may not. It's just the way you see the movie. The directing in this movie is very interesting because you got underwater directing, you got the top directing, perfect angles. I think you did have a little shaky cam. It's been like a month and a half since I've seen the movie, but I do remember the directing is very good looking. And having George Lopez, people may be like, George Lopez, really? I've seen him in other movies. Is this going to be another Shark Boy and Lava Girl? No, thank you. Actually, he's not bad. He's not that. I'm not saying George Lopez was ever a bad thing. But that's why I didn't see the movie first off. I was like, it's just George Lopez. Yeah, it looks interesting, but I'm not really in the mood for George Lopez. But once I saw it, I was like, you know what? It's not bad. He's really good, actually. The robotics, the whole robotics side. If you don't know what robotics is or something, go check it out because it's really, really awesome. I'm not really smart enough, and I don't really want to, but I wouldn't actually do robotics in real life. But for this, you may be inspired and go check out and try to actually join something at school, or else try to actually make something, because they're really awesome at how they do robots and how they create it and the problems and the struggles and the interesting aspects of how they go through with it within the movie. And there are some intense scenes with Aziz Morales and George Lopez and other including those characters where it's just so intense, man. And the writing within it and the dialogue, and it's kind of like you're rooting for this character, and yet it just doesn't work for them sometimes, and you just keep on rooting and rooting until the final last scene, man. I love that really well. There are some funny scenes where it's kind of cheesy, but yet it's still funny. I mean, it's still type of a family movie type of thing where this, family could watch this for sure. Now, there are a couple language and everything, but it's 2015. You can't walk outside without hearing one bad word from someplace in the world. Now, let's be honest. Or curse word. Now, it's fun and funny, this whole movie entirely. There are some scenes where I didn't laugh because it's really those cheesy family type of jokes. But like Jamie Lee Curtis comes out here as a principal. She has those cheesy lines where it's like, you're not funny. Yeah, I like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween, and no problem with Jamie Lee Curtis coming out in movies. I have no problem with it. I think she's really cool. She brings something to the table that's just fun. But this movie didn't work out for me. One of the cons is Jamie Lee Curtis herself. She didn't fit in this movie whatsoever. It was kind of just like a cliched character also, where you really weren't needed. The movie could have gone pretty well without you even being in the movie, but still 50-50 on that. And again, interesting and inspirational. It's a very inspirational movie, and definitely give this movie a shot, guys. Again, my cons really is just cliched characters. Jamie Lee Curtis, George Lopez again. Excuse me. George Lopez, his character is kind of like how he's played it before, where he has that type of, funny look, like, that type of comedic style. But again, he's not bad in the movie, but there is some cons about him, but it's still good. It's still good. He still gives a very good role. Nothing to say like, oh my gosh, the greatest acting role for George Lopez. No, it's just how he portrayed it and how the overall team did well. It's really awesome. That's what I'm trying to say, is just go check it out. My pros: the characters, the directing, the robotics. It's intense, funny, interesting, and inspirational. I mean, I'm going to give this movie, guys, a solid B, an 8.20 out of a 10. It's a good film, and 8.20 out of a 10 equals a good, underrated film. I definitely advise you guys to check this out. Rent it on, Netflix, Redbox, whatever. Just check out this movie. It's great for the whole family, and again, the jokes are pretty funny, a little bit cliche, but the characters still. But you get used to them, and they might actually enter your hearts, and you might care for some characters. You may not, but overall, I enjoyed the film, and hopefully you guys will give it a chance as well. It's very underrated. Spread the word around. Spare Parts is a good film. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button if you guys have seen the movie, and comment down below. Let me know, what did you think about the review, and what did you think about the movie Spare Parts itself. Anyway, I'll see you guys for the next one. Spot me with you.